and thank you for that introduction. Basically, I hope you guys all had so much fun skiing today. It was awesome. I love the corduroy and everything. I've been skiing since I was 1, and I'm 23, so that's 22 years. And I grew up ski racing, and I went to a prep school for freshman year in New Hampshire called Holderness. And one of the senior boys, his name was Nick Martini, and he actually went on to be a pro filmer. But he would always be like, Jamie, go up to the water ramps, go to trampoline camp, because I was a gymnast. So he thought I would love freestyle. And I always was like, nah, I don't really want to do that. Like, I can't do that, I can't do that. And he was a senior guy. So this senior boy would always invite this freshman girl to do cool things with the cool senior boys. And the other freshmen didn't really like that. But I kept saying I wasn't going to do it. And then after the year, I worked all summer, and I made enough money, and I decided to go to trampoline camp and go to water ramp camp to try it out and just have fun. And then, since I was a gymnast, I learned how to flip fast. I went to the water ramp camp in Lake Placid, New York, and I learned how to do front flips the first day and back flips the third day. And in less than a week, I was recruited to be on the aerial development team and moved to Lake Placid and lived there. And so I did that, and so that was pretty cool. And then, the next year, I was still doing aerials and competing in North America, and I decided I wanted to do slopestyle the next day. Now, if you guys don't know what slopestyle is, what it is it's an overall impression, and there's about 3 jumps and 3 rails, and it's how you do from the very top to the very bottom, and whether you spin in both directions and you do switch, which is skiing backwards and doing tricks like that. And so I really wanted to try it. So the first competition I did a spread eagle. You guys know what that is? That's where you open your legs. A double spread eagle. And a front flip. And surprisingly, because they liked my front flip so much, I ended up winning. Now, you can't do a slopestyle contest and not spin, or hit rails. So I learned how to hit rails really quickly, and I learned how to spin really quickly. So then I started spinning and flipping, and I ended up winning a lot. And that year at Junior Olympics, I won slopestyle, I won aerials, I won the overall, and I got 3rd in half pipe. So I guess I like winning. Thank you. And after Junior Olympics, I got recruited to go down to Junior World Championships. I made the U.S. team representing the U.S. in New Zealand. And I went down there and had a great competition, and I actually ended up winning, so that was nice. Like I said, I like winning. And so then I got invited to X Games that year, and my professional career took off. And I really loved it because I love skiing. And to do something you love and have it turn into a career is awesome. I'm sure a lot of you guys know what I'm talking about because you guys have been through experiences in industries that you are waking up in the morning and doing something you love and being able to have that be a profession for you. And that's a fabulous thing. And so I went into the professional circuit, competed around the world, traveled. My little sister is on the U.S. team as well. And she competed this year. She actually won her last competition, the Canadian Open. And she started, and she started competing internationally as well. And so then we started adding in things, like when we had a competition in France, in the mountains, we added in going to Paris and going to the Louvre. And when we had an event in Italy, we took a $30 train trip to Venice. So we added in some of those things, so we got to explore the world, which was very lucky. And last year, so I competed around internationally. Last April 11th, 2015, I was at World Tour Finals in Whistler, Canada. My first run, I got 4th. And everyone knows you want to end up on the podium. So I wanted to transfer my flat 3, that's an off-axis backflip with a grab, to a double flat 7, that's an off-axis double backflip with a grab. Because 2 reasons. 1, if I had landed it, I would have done really well. 2, I wanted to become the first girl to ever do an off-axis double in a slopestyle run. Now, I didn't land it really well. I under-rotated slightly. My feet hit first, but I whiplash my head down, My brain was bleeding in 8 spots. I started convulsing on the snow, and I went into a coma. At the time, the doctors weren't sure if I was actually going to ever come out of the coma, so they called my family to come say goodbye. They thought best case scenario, if I came out of the coma, if I worked as hard as I possibly could for 2 years, I would reach semi-normality. I would never live independently. I would never do sports again, and I would never go back to being normal. Now, they didn't know what I was like to begin with, so they knew I never was normal, so that's okay. But they didn't know that. So they thought I might just stay in the vegetative state and pass on. And as we talked about disability insurance with the last speaker, who's up here, Alex, I would just like to remind everyone, I never thought that was going to happen to me. If you had asked me last year at this time, what are the chances that you will get in a coma? I would say, probably about 1%. I would never expect that I would be injured. I would never expect I would spend months in a hospital. I would never expect that I don't remember a month. I hurt my right brain stem, so my entire right side was paralyzed. I never knew that that was going to happen. So, if this helps out the disability talk a little bit, that's good for me. But yeah, so they thought that I was never going to recover. But I believe there's 2 kinds of luck. There's controlled luck and uncontrolled luck. I had both. At the beginning, I definitely had uncontrolled luck. I lived. But then, the controlled luck took over. Now, what I mean by controlled luck is that anyone who meets me would say, wow, you are 11 months out of having been in a coma, and you seem fine to me. I don't have any permanent brain damage, so that's nice, but you seem fine. But they don't know the portion when I was in the hospital, when I could barely walk upstairs and practice every single day, and 2 weeks later could run up the stairs at 3 minutes and 21 seconds. I timed for myself. And I could run up the stairs. They don't know the times that I tied down my left arm in the hospital, out of the hospital, and just made breakfast and did everything with my right hand. Now, I didn't like all of that. I didn't think it was all super fun. But that's why my right hand now moves as much as it does and is equal to my left hand. Because I worked hard and I made that calculated luck. So you would say, oh, she's so lucky, but I worked hard. And the next thing is don't ever put a glass ceiling on your recovery process or any career you're going to do. If you put a glass ceiling, you know how far you're going to go. I never knew how far I was going to go, and I'm still on the journey. Everyone is. Life is a journey. We are all living, and we are all part of the journey, and we never know where we're going to go. So do not put a glass ceiling on how far you can go and what you can accomplish. And make sure you believe in yourself. Everyone else's opinions do make a difference, but the only person whose opinion matters is yours. Important people, like doctors, family members, like if you're recovering from a TBI, they can believe in you or they cannot. The only person who matters is if you believe in yourself. I always knew that I was going to recover, so I made sure that I did. If you believe in yourself, you can accomplish whatever you want to accomplish. And that is the end of my little bit of story. And so I would love to answer any questions if you have questions for me to answer. Yes.
When you were in the comatose stage, did you feel anything? Did you remember? What did you remember from the experience?
Good question. Well, I don't remember a full month right now, so I'm not 100% sure. I don't remember remembering. But I do know that when I was recovering from the coma, I told my family this story 5 days in a row, that I had to leave the coffin, that I got up from the coffin because a skier angel told me it was time for me to go. It wasn't my time to stay anymore. And I had to get up and I had to go back and I could recover completely. And then Jeannie, my sister, asked me if it was the ski ranger, Sarah Berg. And I don't know if you guys know who she is, but she used to be an X Games athlete. She won all the time. And she passed on, she actually severed her right brainstem. I bruised my right brainstem in Park City 3 years ago. And I said, yes, that's exactly who it was. So I did at that time remember vaguely that I had left the coffin and that I could recover completely, and that Sarah had told me she was going to look out for me, and I could recover completely and she'd look out for me forever. And so whether that's true or not, I'm not super religious or trying to convince you of anything. You can believe what you want to believe. But I thought that that happened to me in my coma, and it gave me the courage that Sarah was going to take care of me and that I could completely recover. So at that time, not one other person in the world believed I could, and I thought I could recover. That is a very good question, and I know it's a question a lot of people want to know, but that is part of the glass ceilings that I don't believe in, and I don't believe in long-term goals. I believe in setting short-term goals, especially after my injury, and making sure every day I wake up with one thing I know I can accomplish and I want to accomplish, and take baby steps in the direction I want to move in. So at this point right now, I am completely cleared to compete again if I want to, and the door is open, and the door is going to stay open because I'm not going to make a decision at this time. So I don't know. I would guess probably, but I don't want to decide yet. Yes.
Have you ever pulled a trick that frightened you?
Have I ever pulled a